Welcome to the Giants Talk Podcast. Here's Alex Pavlovich and Cole Kuiper. I know those guys.
Hey, Giants fans, welcome to another episode of Giants Talk. I'm Cole Kuiper, along here with Giants insider Alex Pavlovich. And as you well know, Giants Talk comes to you every Monday and Thursday right here on the NBC Sports Podcast Network, available wherever you listen to your pods. Right now at Wendy's, get 2 breakfast sandwiches for just $4. Giants Talk is brought to you by Wendy's and their delicious breakfast sandwiches. I stopped by Wendy's first thing today, Alex. Got myself a coffee on vacation, started the day out right.
On assignment Wendy's trip? I like it.
On assignment Wendy's trip. I was hoping, I love fast food restaurants abroad because sometimes they have funky stuff on the menu that's not available in the States. But same menu here.
Same
menu. A little bummed out about that, but you can't be too upset about the normal menu.
I wasn't going to blow up your spot, and then I tune into Summer Sundays and you're wearing like a Hawaiian shirt that's like open to your belly button, and I think somewhere in front of like a castle with water slides coming out of it. So I think you blew up your own spot.
Yeah. I didn't reveal where I am. You don't know. Maybe I'm in Vegas.
True. Well, I think people who have ever looked for a vacation destination would see what was behind you and like, I know that one.
I know that one. It's not a obscure location.
Yeah, that was not obscure.
As I am on vacation, though, I got to imagine your plate is full this week with so much writing to do. The Giants dropped a key series. Dodgers are coming back into town. The trade deadline is around the corner. So my big question for you is, how are those phalanges hanging up?
Jay Jackson dropped that into the post game. My phalanges actually are a little sore. I don't know what I need to talk to the bullpen guys. I'm now like very aware of it. Like my fingers are like hurting a little bit. I do have, this is the time of year where you and I, as this is our first time doing this during a trade deadline, but as we talk here, if I'm looking off screen, I'm updating TweetDeck to see if anybody else has been traded, because I think we've hit that point over the next week. And we will talk trade deadline here, and we will talk a little bit of Pirates, not too much because it was not the best 3 days. But first, I want to start with a question for you before letting you take over as our guide here. The whole world was surprised when Dwayne Kuiper walked in the broadcast booth on Friday night or Saturday night. Were you surprised?
No, that was not a surprise for me. I knew it was happening. I FaceTimed my dad beforehand. We kind of talked about how this was a goal. I mean, I feel that. I feel like I gave you so many false starts over the past few weeks, Alex. With I would shoot you a text, "Hey, I think this is going to be the series. My dad's coming back into the booth," in case you needed to, get a cheating head start on an article or something like that. Every time it didn't happen. Okay. And then, of course, this is the one time I didn't let you know.
It's all right. It was more fun. I don't want to work with something like that. I just want to enjoy it and see the genuine joy on Mike's face. It was like, the new thing, like guys being dudes. That was like guys being dudes, just like, hey, we're back. Like it was really cool to see. So very happy your dad is back.
Let's be honest. This has been an incredible season for the Giants and for Giants fans, but just nothing but positivity all around. Behind the curtain, it has been kind of a rough few months. So this was, I was bawling during the first inning. We'll put it that way.
I'm sure. It was cool.
It's one of those games I don't think I'll ever forget. I'm sure you have a few that you vividly remember every detail of. We've got Barry Bonds' 756, Matt Cain's perfect game, 2010 game 162, and now adding into that roster is the Giants lose 10-2 to the Padres or to the Pirates in 2021.
You'll never forget it. Yeah, for me, it's like, when did I tape an Alex Eats and what happened after that or before that? But it was very cool, and I was just as thrilled to see him back on Sunday afternoon and to see the team actually reward him with 4 home runs and let him get into it. So
yeah, LaMonte Wade Jr. wanted to get the out of here back into the mix.
He did. The rest of the team, not so much on a Saturday night, but it was good to see Sunday. And the Giants got a win. So
and they did. And we'll obviously have my dad in the mix next episode later in the week on Thursday, and I'm sure we'll be able to talk to him about what that experience was like for him, and if there were any interesting behind-the-scenes aspects of surprising his best friend with something like that.
Yeah, I need to know if you sent Gabe Kapler an annoyed text on Saturday night. Like, I finally get back in the booth, and you guys lose so bad that you have a position player on the mound.
Right, right. Yeah. All right. Well, I feel like it was almost a great thing for Giants fans and probably for the Giants like marketing team because they had this one thing everyone could focus on aside from the fact that they lost 10
Yes,
2.
they're getting smoked. Let's just move on to Sunday. So
Let's move on to Sunday. Overall in the series, though, do you think they were just banged up and worn out after the Dodgers bloodbath of a just nail biter games?
I think a little bit. We asked Gabe that today in the morning, and he's like, "Look, I'm not going to make excuses. What I'll say is, we saw it even in Pittsburgh. Like, I like the way that team plays. Like, they play hard. They come at you. They're not, they don't look like they've given in, even though they're really
Mhm.
bad. I like the way they play. And they gave the Giants all they could handle in Pittsburgh. And so coming off of four really, really, I mean, those were emotional games in Los Angeles, like
Yeah.
borderline playoff atmosphere there at Dodger Stadium. And to come home and have a team that, as Kapler said, was just hungry and they were coming after them. Like it got to them for a couple of days. Even, without Wade Jr. and Wood on Sunday, it might've been a really ugly sweep, but I think it's understandable a little bit. We've seen that happen a lot. And we've talked about this on the podcast, like how the Dodgers and Padres would have these like 3-day battles that were just like the whole baseball world's watching. And then one of them
Mhm.
would go to Coors Field and get swept. And the Giants are just chugging along in first place. So I think it's a very natural thing over a 6-month season. I don't put too much stock into it.
I do think I saw this stat on the San Francisco Giants subreddit on Reddit. The Giants are 39-60 against the Pirates over the past 15 seasons. So the Pirates are just another one of those Giants killing teams, just running into the buzzsaw where even if
Yeah.
they're bad against everyone else, take out their frustrations on San
I think
Francisco.
it's worth remembering, if anybody however the season ends up, if you want to be like, oh man, if they had just been in the NL Central, like we would not be sitting here at the end of the year worrying about the Dodgers and the Padres and a wild card game potentially. But yeah, you would have to play the Pirates and the Cardinals 19 times each. So maybe it wouldn't have been so good.
No, I don't know about that. But Giants weren't the only team that looked kind of hungover. Dodgers not too hot. I think they squeaked out a series win, but they were not the dominant Dodgers you'd expect up against the Rockies.
No, they picked up a win, but they put Mookie Betts on the IL. Cody Bellinger's hamstring flared up. Joe Kelly got the save on Sunday. His hamstring flared up. So they're coming in like they're a mess as they come in here. And then the Padres, we'll get to them at the end here because AJ Preller is going to AJ Preller. But they went to Miami, and we've seen the Marlins too. Like they played the Giants really tough. So
Yeah.
similar to the Pirates, they're not very good, but will play good teams tough. And they took 2 out of 3 from the Padres. So rough weekend for the Giants. Ultimately lost like 1 game to the Dodgers in the standings. Could have been a lot worse given that the
Could
Dodgers were
have
in
been
the
worse.
Rockies and the Padres were in Miami.
I'd like to give a shout out to Alex Wood, by the way. He's just kind of been like a huge silver lining. I think he heard all the smack talk that the different reporters and the different fans were putting out there in June, and just kind of used it to turn his season around. He's not performing to the April-May level he was earlier in the year, but he's really crushing it.
He's been great. He's 8-0 after the Giants lose a game, which is like, and he seems to take that, personally. And to me right now, like game 3 starter in a postseason series. So we'll see what happens next week in the next 2 months, but he's been unbelievable.
And then obviously we mentioned him a bit earlier, but Lamont Wade Jr. Against pitchers of one-handedness
Yeah.
specifically has been just so good. Kind of raising questions about when Belt comes back, but obviously he's versatile enough that I assume he's going to see the outfield once Belt is back on the field. But just a dream to watch. He's having so much fun out there. I think he's one of those players that ingratiated himself with Giants fans so quickly. I can't
So
imagine him being
quickly.
anywhere else.
It was that's another way this is Yastrzemski-esque in that it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know what it is. Maybe the fact that these guys come out of nowhere and they're required for basic, not nothing. I mean, I like Sean Anderson, but it hasn't worked out there. So maybe that's part of it. But yeah, he's become a fan favorite very quickly. Has like 170 plate appearances, but up to a dozen homers, a career high for him in any season, and has done it at the big league level, hitting leadoff for the Giants. He's been unbelievable, and really, I think this had the makings of another. Like the Pirates came right back again in the first inning, and they were pushing early on. against Wood, and Wade goes out there and hits a bomb in the bottom of the first, and 30,000 fans kind of like, okay, this might be okay. You mentioned Wood, and another thing he's done, he might be the best quote in that clubhouse right now. And so I want to insert this one from Wood. I asked him about Lamont Wade Jr. and what he's done, and here's what he had to say.
Lamont's ice cold, man. He's ice cold. There's no other way to put it. He just grinds every pitch, doesn't take a single pitch off. You know, he's locked in from the very start of the game to the very, very finish. He's, you know, I think he likes those moments. You know, I don't know if he'd admit that, but, you know, he wants to be in those moments. He wants to be a dude, and he's proven to be one. So it's been an absolute blast, you know, watching him compete and play every day. And we're lucky to have him for sure.
So there's Alex Wood. Is there anything cooler you can have said about you than he is ice cold?
No, ice cold.
Nobody will ever say that about me, but I just would kill for somebody to describe me that way in some situation. Just say,
Alex,
like,
you are ice cold.
No, it doesn't work.
You are ice cold.
It doesn't work. But he said it about Wade Jr., and I was like, you know what? That's like the highest compliment you can give to somebody.
Spot on. No, I love it.
We have a lot of younger listeners. Like, put that one in your back pocket when you're describing your friends. That's the best possible thing you could say about them.
Ice cold. The other guy who's been just showing off has been Jay Jackson. Wasn't someone I knew a lot about before this season, and you know, it's been great to see him. He
saved the game in the sixth inning potentially. You know, kept the Pirates from getting into the better part of their bullpen, and he seems like he's having so much fun, which is kind of cool to watch. You know, you see a lot of relievers. Some of them are really serious. Some of them are fired up. He just seems like he's having fun. So that's been fun to watch. He was the one who dropped a phalanges into the post game today, which seems like it has to be done every day. So yeah, it's been. We'll see where this goes, but I mean, right now he looks like a guy who should be pitching, you know, pretty regularly there with Dom Leone and Harleen Garcia ahead of the back too.
For our fans who are also into this kind of thing, he's a fantastic social media follow. So get on that too.
He is.
Beyond this Pirates series, which the Giants unfortunately dropped but did not get swept, the Dodgers are back in the mix. I would say they overperformed last time they faced the Dodgers, or are we going with the team with the best record in baseball cannot feasibly overperform and they just held their own dominance as expected?
Yeah, I saw some people who were like, they were 3 outs away from getting a sweep. And I was like, well, they were also like 4 or 5 outs away from losing 3 out of 4. So it very easily could have gone the other way. Especially that last game, like they're an inch away a couple of times from losing that game. So a very, very hard fought 4 games there. And we talked during that. We haven't talked since Thursday night's game, but that was just like, even Thursday's, like the atmosphere there at Dodger Stadium was unbelievable. And so it'll be fun to see how that translates to Oracle Park. I'm really curious to see, you brought this up at the end of the first half, like the crowds here have been, you know, not so great.
Yeah.
Like not, you know, you'd be happy with it if you're like, I don't know, a team that's like 6 games back of first place right now. Not when you have the best record in baseball.
Yeah, and you know, Dodgers fans travel so well. So that's a big risk Giants fans open up if they don't pack the ballpark, is that there could be a lot of blue and a lot of noise for the Dodgers pitchers. And it's not going to be an easy series. I don't think there's any easy pitching lineups you can end up with when you're playing the Dodgers. But the 3 guys the Giants are going to be facing have a 1.13 ERA against the Giants this year combined.
Was it Urias, Buehler, and
Price? Yeah.
Buehler's the best pitcher they've seen all year. So I'm like that. Yeah. And obviously we've seen what Urias has done against them. But yeah, I'm going to go back to the fans, and we're going to watch this and we'll talk about it. We'll check back on Thursday's episode, but I'm holding them to a high standard, and I understand where they come from since 2017. Fully understand, but holding them to a high standard. If there's 27,000 people here when the Dodgers were drawing 52,000 for one of those games last week, like, you know, you can't really talk smack on Twitter anymore about the other fan base if that's what.
No.
So
no, I mean,
Giants fans love to do that and love to make jokes about the wave and the beach balls, but I need to see. What are we setting? 35,000 plus average for the 3 games. That's what I'm going to set it at.
That's your over under, or that's what your goal is?
I'm setting the average for this 3 games at 35,000, and if it's under that, then there needs to be a moratorium on jokes about beach balls in the wave
All right.
for
I like
a
that.
little bit, because ultimately it comes down to how many people came to the game. So
Mhm.
we're gonna keep an eye.
Yeah,
on it.
and I feel like Giants fans have had a lot of excuses, but we can say for certain Cha-Cha Bowls are back. The crab sandwich is back. We talked to Larry about that weeks ago. So we're running out of excuses.
Yeah.
Let's fill
San
this
Francisco's
stadium
back,
and let's
as
get
Gary
loud.
Crowley has told us the city's back. So yes.
All
We'll see
right.
what happens.
I'm very excited for that series. I did see that my dad's said in post game, I believe, that his doctor told him not to do that series. He's got an appointment. So I believe he accused his doctor of being a Dodgers fan.
Oh, is he going to do that series?
No, he's not
good.
doing that series,
That
unfortunately.
series was not
so.
good for my heart, and I'm much younger, so it
Relatively healthy.
Yeah, it was a rough. Those are intense games, so
Yeah,
I understand that. But we'll hopefully get him
on the horizon, obviously, the biggest topic of the week, which is crazy considering how much is going on between the Giants and the Dodgers and everything else, is going to be the trade deadline. We've talked about this before. I'm certain we're going to talk about it again, and it's only in a few days. But what do the Giants really have to do here? Are you in the boat that they need to make a huge move and something splashy? Because I kind of feel like just getting all these names off the IL again is kind of splashy enough.
Yeah, I'm not in that boat, and I'll tell you why. It's because of what we saw today. I think if they could do it somewhere pitching wise, and we'll get to maybe some dream targets here in a little bit, but if they could do that from a pitching perspective, that would be great. But we'll see what happens if Belt can come back and Belt can play first base, and you put Wade and Ruff in left field, and you have Yaz in right field, and when Stella comes back to play second base with Solano, and you have Crawford at short, and Longoria at third. Like, they feel really good about all these guys coming back and feel like they're going to be at full strength in the next couple of weeks. And look, somebody else is going to get hurt, but you can prepare for that. But I don't know that you can prepare for that by trading one of your top 5 or 10 prospects. Like,
No way.
I don't think you do that thinking somebody else is going to get hurt. So I think you would feel really good about that lineup if these guys come back in the next couple of weeks. And it's going to start Thursday with Crawford. So, and Belton with Stella are not far behind. Longoria will be back August 5th. So I don't know that I would feel the need to make a huge splash. And I also think they're so good, and maybe this will come back to bite us, but they're so good at finding guys like Wade and Yastrzemski and Jay Jackson. And I feel like they're going to make some trades, and people are going to be underwhelmed on Twitter. And 6 weeks from now, they're going to be like, where did this guy come from?
Exactly. I want to see the organization hustle the Twins or the Reds or whoever again for some overlooked talent. I know, poor guys.
There's no way the Twins are picking up Farhan's phone calls.
He's blocked. Yeah. Farhan's got a call from the burner. But yeah, so we'll have to see. But moves have already started being made. We'll talk a little bit more about the Padres, but they made a big move already this weekend, and I kind of was under the sneaking suspicion that they held off on that move to see if Adam Frazier could chip away at the Giants a little bit.
See,
what do you think about that?
This is why this works, because I'm out there trying to do the reporting and be like, damn it, I should have been watching. He grabbed his bats in the dugout. And you're sitting there with the conspiracy theory that they held off until it was 6-1, 5-1.
No, they were like, this.
Estrada homered right after that, so it was 5-1, and they're like, okay, it's all right.
Let's
that's
call
a good theory. The one thing I will say is I've been covering this game long enough to know that executives are terrified of injuries, just terrified of somebody getting hurt. So as soon as that deal was done, I would imagine that the Pirates guys, even if AJ Preller was like, hey, you can let him hit here in the 5th or 6th inning, it's okay, it's 2-1, you can let him hit. I think the Pirates guys probably were like, get off the field. We got 3 prospects coming. Don't get hurt. Don't ruin this. So, but I like that.
No,
I like where your head's at.
I'm an Adam Frazier truther, man. I'm an Adam
Conspiracy
Frazier
Cole.
truther.
We need Conspiracy Cole every podcast.
I think that's a new segment. Do you want to give me some bold predictions for the trade deadline?
I'm going to give you 4, and they're going to be on our website. Maybe I'll come up with a 5th overnight, but we'll write a whole.
For our listeners, I'm just teeing Alex up for his article this
Yes,
week, so
we
he
are.
can
I'll
write and plug
expand on
something.
these thoughts in print on Monday. Maybe I'll give you 3, and then
Oh, tune in.
We have the 4th.
Yeah,
and 5th
tune in
for you.
print.
My
Fantastic.
first one is Giants related. I think they're going to trade someone off their big league roster.
Oh, okay.
Because we just talked about everybody who's coming back, and
that's gonna
it's just going to be a
Off
crowded room. And they're also like, some of these guys are coming off the 60-day IL. Reyes Maranta is coming off the 60-day IL. They're just running out of roster spots. I think they need to like clear some roster spots if they're adding guys. So I would not be surprised. There are a couple areas where it's not like the greatest depth in the world, but they do have a lot of outfielders, and one of them potentially could help somewhere else. And then if they make a trade for a right-handed reliever, then all of a sudden they do have a lot of right-handed relievers. And you know, I don't want to name anybody, but there are people on Twitter who are DFAing some of these guys every other day. So, but they could help elsewhere, you know, like there could be a team that, because these guys are all veterans, so it's not as easy to send them to AAA. So I would not be surprised if there's maybe a need trade that matches up somewhere, because there are a lot of teams I think trying to do that right now.
All right, I'm interested in that. Give me bold prediction number 2, Alex.
This one goes against what everybody's saying, because everybody says the A's are not going to do anything, but I think the A's will trade for Trevor Story.
Ooh,
I have no information. That's just my bold prediction, because Trevor Story has to go somewhere, and it'd be idiotic for the Rockies. It is the Rockies, but it'd be really dumb for them to hold him and just hope that you get the comp pick. And I just don't see that many spots for him. And I hope that they open their wallets a little bit. And I think he has like $6 million left the rest of the year. Maybe you can up the prospect pool going back the other way. But Elvis Andrus has been really bad. And that team, I hope that team goes for it. Like, all they do is talk about getting a new stadium. They have a good team. They have a really good team. They have a good infield. They have Matt Olson, Matt Chapman. They have a good pitching staff. It's right there for them. Just go for it, because we know they're hitting that cycle, right? Where like these guys get into arbitration, they start getting expensive, and they get traded.
They put on pinstripes.
So take a shot before you get into that cycle.
All right. Well, welcome to A's Talk, hosted by Cole Kuiper and Alex Pavlovich, listeners. I read an interesting thing online earlier that the Padres were even eyeballing Trevor Story to try to put him in the outfield. They're getting desperate.
Do you remember what Trevor Story did, that stop he made like game like 57 last year or something in extra innings?
Yeah.
Where he's the kind of guy, like, get him out of Colorado because it's a bad situation. Put him in a pennant race. I think someone's going to get a really good player. I don't understand why more teams are not involved with him.
Okay, I'm in. I would love to see him in the Bay Area because I can watch him more often then.
I have 3 more, but I'm going to give you the juicy one, which is
let's get spicy, Alex.
I think Spicy Alex and Conspiracy Cole, I think Madison Bumgarner might get traded before Friday.
Wow.
There you go. He probably won't, but I think he should, because that team has no shot anytime soon in the National League West. He has 3 years left on his deal. So I'd like to see the Arizona Diamondbacks eat some of that money and trade him to somewhere where Madison Bumgarner – we need Bum in the playoffs. It won't be here, but we need him.
That's the whole reason people pay him a contract to play baseball, right?
To be in the postseason.
Perform in the postseason, not to get there, to perform there. And he does have a lot of money on that contract, though.
A lot of money. So they probably have to pay some of it down. But like the Mets, maybe? Like that guy, their owner's worth $12 billion. Go get Bum, put him in your postseason rotation. He's already done it at Citi Field in a postseason. So he's pitched better since he came off the IL, and he's one guy that, like, would you ever feel bad going into a postseason game with him on the mound, even if he had a 4.97 ERA for the season?
If Madison Bumgarner was out all night the night before partying and showed up hungover, I would still feel more confident in him than anyone else.
Than a lot of guys. I'm going to be really – I don't mean this on purpose, but I'm going to be really bummed out if Madison Bumgarner's season ends with the worst team in baseball and he just goes home to North Carolina to his farm, and we just have a postseason where, like, somebody go get him. That's why I give credit to AJ Preller. He's going for it, right? They're behind 2 really good teams, and AJ's trying to go for it. So I always enjoy that. And I hope somebody out there goes and says, hey, let's this guy's won a lot of big games. This guy's won the World Series. Let's go
Yeah.
put him in our playoff rotation. It might cost us in 2 years. We're going to look up and be like, why are we paying him $14 million? He has a very weird contract, but anyway, that's what I'd like to see.
Right. Well, listeners, tune in on NBC Sports website to read the rest of Alex's bold predictions. But
Thank you.
that
Where
one
do you not-
sounds like
where-
it's the juiciest.
Where would you want to see him?
Where would I want to see Bumgarner?
Yeah.
I would
Obviously
wanna
not
see
in this division, but
No. That's a great question. My first answer is a ludicrous answer because it would never happen and it would never work. But I think it'd be really fun to see him play alongside Shohei Ohtani, just because he could
Ooh.
improve his batting and they could kind of get like a.
I don't even think that's ludicrous. I think
No?
that's great. They need pitching.
Okay. Yeah. But I also don't think they're really contending this year, are they?
They're trying to.
Well, yeah, aren't we all?
Aren't you watching a wild card game with Madison Bumgarner starting and Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout in the lineup?
Could you
Ohtani's
imagine?
probably starting that game, but yeah.
I
like
I'm
that choice.
dialed in on that. All right.
All right.
Let's talk one more, not quite a prediction, but one more topic. What is your dream target for the Giants? I think maybe we have to preface it by each picking a position before we dive into this. What do you think?
Okay. Well, the reason I won't pick a position is because the guy I'm going to pick, I don't really want anybody else at that position. So I don't
Okay.
don't really care for
take us
really-
away first.
the dream target. And I think a lot of fans feel the same way. And I know some people who work for the organization feel this way, I would say, is Craig Kimbrell.
Okay.
Because this team's headed for the postseason, either as a wild card team or waiting for the wild card team. And, we saw it today. Rogers and McGee, they're great at the back end. Imagine if there was a third guy who was great at the back end. And I think Harlan Garcia has been great. Dominic Leone has been really good for the most part. And Jay Jackson, we talked about him. But it's just we've seen this over and over again with the postseason. Like, you're not getting 7 innings out of your starter. You're probably not getting 6 innings out of your starter in the postseason, especially if the Giants are facing the Dodgers. So they're going to grind whoever they have out there. The Padres might do the same thing, but if you can turn a game over to Rogers, McGee, and Kimbrell, I would feel pretty good about that.
I think that's a fantastic pick. I'm kind of thinking towards the front half of the game, though, and I'm saying starting pitching. I'd feel a lot more comfortable if they had, some big dog on the mound that could go up there when Cueto's looking a little shaky. I don't know. We're saying dream scenario, and there are some fantastic pitchers who could potentially be on the block. I don't think the Giants will land Max Scherzer. I don't think I want to see them trade what it would take to get someone like Max Scherzer. But if we're talking dream, yeah, guy like Scherzer. Sonny Gray is a guy I brought up on a Summer Sunday a few Sundays ago. I don't know that they're going to decide whether they want to go all in on moving him, but I would love to see that. And then Carmen Q brought up Danny Duffy as well. So I don't know. There's a few starting pitchers in the mix,
Yeah.
but I think all of these guys are going to, all these big name targets are going to be something that are a little more expensive prospect wise than the Giants are willing to do.
I agree. It's a Sunday night. We decided to dream a little bit. And
Dream big.
Because that's what people do. So no, I think it's going to be expensive, and I think they can go find the right-handed pitching version of Wilmot Wade Jr. and teach him a new pitch, and he'll be.
And that's it. That's all it takes.
So
I mean, if we're talking about
they do
dreaming
here.
a little, Alex, we say this every week, but would you have dreamed in April that this is where we'd be?
No,
No,
not even in
it's
May.
incredible.
Not even in June.
Not even in
We're waiting
June.
for the collapse. I need to go back and find the podcast where I officially declared that the Giants are good.
The Giants were good.
That was early to mid-May, I think.
It took
So,
a while.
Yeah, it took a while. But they're good. And they have a trade deadline coming up. It'll be really interesting. We will be back on Thursday with Dwayne Kuiper, highlight of the weekend, Dwayne Kuiper,
Right.
to discuss that. I think his doctor will let him hang out with us. I think.
Yeah. Maybe I'll see him in person. You have to do it via Zoom, or maybe vice versa.
Yeah, possibly. I think we're easy. But we'll have that, and then we'll see. I mean, you and I haven't done an emergency podcast, but maybe we'll need to this week. So
If moves are made, I'm ready to talk to you emergency wise.
yeah, perfect.
So
We'll
let's
be ready.
put up the bat signal.
I'll put up the bat signal. Everybody, download, subscribe, follow the Giants Talk podcast. Thank you for listening. We'll be back on Thursday and maybe another time we might put up the bat signal, depending on what the Giants do. It's up to Farhan and Scott.
We build our lives piece by piece, and a great bank helps them take shape. When life has you on the run, bank quickly on the go. Spot your dream home? We'll help make sure you move in. When you're ready to turn your passion into a business, we'll help you pivot. No matter where you are, Northwest fits right in. With easy-to-use tech and down-to-earth conversation, we'll help you get there, one piece at a time. Northwest Bank, increasing the value of you. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.